mountain roads that inspired a legend.
The Hakone Skyline, when I first saw it, I actually understood for myself why the car I was driving at the time was called a Skyline. It was made for these kind of roads.
The streets and shows where youth culture meets 100-run car culture.
うちの方はまた同じものを作ればいいんであって、またよりね、新しくいいものが作っていけるんで、売却っていうのはそれは可能ではあります。
On a scorching August afternoon, over £500,000 worth of high-performance cars gather to celebrate the 5th birthday of Newera Imports, a company specialising in bringing these machines to English shores.
It's a 1995 Nissan Skyline R33 GTR. It's pretty much HKS tuned. I believe in Japan, the average mileage they do per year is a lot less. I mean, this car came back with about 18,000 kilometres on the clock when I got it, so that's not bad going really. It was immaculate. It'd obviously been looked after, you know, by whoever had it. I think they just basically look after their cars.
Buying imported performance cars has increased in popularity over the past few years.
It's a Supra twin-turbo RZS VVTi. Not managed to spend any money on it yet, really. It came with the BBS split rim wheels and Olin's fully adjustable suspension as well.
Appealing to all ages, Japanese engineering is renowned the world over.
Yeah, I've got a Skyline R34 GTT, which I got from Big Wheel. I got it just after Christmas this year. I ordered it in about July, August time, and it's wonderful. It's been fully stage 1 tuned, so it's quite a fast performer.
This is just another chapter in the story of these cars' lives. It all begins in the Far East. Population 150 million people, and with millions of cars on the road, it is a nation obsessed with all things automotive. Taking great pride in their vehicles, Japanese car culture is full of passion. It's about standing out from the crowd and making your car special. With even manufacturers now offering upgrade kits, people can personalise their cars right off the production line. From mild to wild, it's all here. Groups of youngsters congregate in rest stops across Japan, showing off their cars, their sound systems and their moves. Whether you own a fire-breathing Skyline or a run-of-the-mill Micra, the strict motoring laws in Japan require owners of vehicles over 3 years old to be in possession of a valid shaken, the Japanese equivalent of the MOT. Using a variety of incentives and extremely low interest rates, Japanese car owners are enticed to trade in their old cars in exchange for newer models.
We usually buy cars new because of 2 reasons. One, interest rates are around 1 to 2% when buying a car, and the dealers give good benefits for trading in a used car against a new one. So it's not as expensive to own a nice car in Japan compared to other countries. I bought my S2000 because I fell in love with this shape, and this was the special made to order color only, so it's quite unique in Tokyo. Also, we believe that if we buy something used, then we take on the fortune of the last owner. So if he was unlucky, then we also become unlucky. And this is why the Japanese generally don't like to buy used things.
Much like the UK, many of these cars taken in part exchange are passed through to the auctions. Companies such as Newera Imports then purchase these vehicles and import them into the UK. Being introduced to cars from a very early age, Miguel Varela Cid developed a passion for them that would continue to grow.
Hello, Inaki-san. What have you got on offer today? My dad was a mechanic. He opened up a fairly large garage to restore cars. So from the age of 11, he started taking me to the garage. And one of the first things that he had me do was rebuild an old Rolls-Royce engine with him. I'd help the panel beaters, and I'd help the sprayers, and I'd see the possibility of, you know, old rotten wrecks coming in and going out as beautiful new cars. And so a passion grew for me with cars. At university, I didn't want to go and work like everyone else in restaurants and be a waiter and stuff, so I thought I'd put up some posters around the university and repair cars for students at a much cheaper rate than local mechanics would charge. And you know, with the things that I had watched mechanics do and helped them do, I had to start doing myself. As I reached the age of 30, I was working for BOC, something I had absolutely no passion for. And one day I was sitting with my friend Paul Robinson, and I explained to him how once I'd come out to Japan and I'd seen the cars out here in Japan and just been amazed by them, and remembered that they were significantly cheaper than England.
Deciding to make a go of it, Paul and Miguel booked their tickets and flew out to Japan. After finding an export agent they were happy with, they began searching the auctions. Settling on 2 vehicles, these were the first cars purchased by Newera Imports.
We brought in a black Skyline GTS Turbo and a Honda CRX, and we sold them. You know, we realized that this was a viable business, and I thought to myself, what the hell am I doing in England? What am I doing going to a job that I just hate? And looking at the clock every day and, you know, wishing it was time to go home. I want to go and live in Japan. I want to get involved with these cars, because, you know, suddenly I realized, okay, look, this is my chance to go and do something that I know I'm passionate about.
Buying in many cars at the Japanese auctions, Newera are constantly sourcing vehicles for both trade and retail clients.
That's fine, let's go. Together with the agent that we use for exporting cars, we probably cover about 15 auctions a week. Usually I look at the cars within anything from 3 hours to 30 minutes before the car is due to sell. 1998 RX-7. This is a model with twin oil coolers, which not all RBs have. Spare's never been used. 13750. This would be a nice car on the road for 13750. Hi Ishida-san. Hi, it's me again. I just want to give you a bid on this RX-7.
There are many other UK traders based in Japan. Mark Rutt from Pyramid Auto regularly attends the Tokyo auctions.
I've lived in the Far East for about 25 years, buying Japanese cars for most of that time. I work for myself as my own company, and yes, being English in Japan, exporting to the UK has an enormous advantage here. I don't specialize particularly, but I would say the vast majority of four-wheel drives, there is a real vacuum for cheap four-wheel drives in the UK.
Japanese auctions are now computerized, a far cry from the nudge and a wink UK versions.
Japan is the only country that operates computerized auctions. The process is good. It's a good one because, unlike the UK auctions where you the bids are flying off the wall or the floor, here that can't happen. It's all computerized. There are certain techniques even to this. As you can see in the background, there's a little flashing lights. Those lights actually tell you a lot. They can tell you how many people are bidding, the kind of bidding that's going on, if it's computerized bidding or individual bidding. It's something you just learn to read. The average speed of the sales is about 6 units per minute. It sounds like incredible. Of course, there's 2 lanes. So every car is selling at about, on average, it's on the screen for about 20 seconds. It's a very fair system, I think, and I don't think it's not open to much abuse as far as I know. The auctions check the cars prior to the auction. They have people that are licensed car checkers. The quality of that checking is very marginal in a lot of cases. You have to check the cars yourself. Some auctions are better than others.
Spread over multiple sites, the larger auctions can sell as many as 9,000 cars a day.
auctions tend to be getting bigger. The smaller ones tend to be disappearing, which for people like myself is good, because I'd rather go to an auction that has 4,000 or 5,000 cars than to one that has 1,000 cars, and especially if you're buying numbers.
Hello, Ishida-san. This is Miguel. We've got one car to place a bid on here.
Using Japanese buyers to bid on their behalf enables UK traders to keep across the many bidding rooms. Maki Yoshida, employed by Yamajin Corporation, is a buyer working for Newera.
I'm doing the press the button for the customer. For example, so Miguel's call me, and then he gave me his target price, and then push. But I have many customers, so Miguel and the other customer also I will push for them. Can you see that the green and red screen? We have two kinds of button, green and red. So just push. This is price up to per 3,000 yen for one push, and then just pushing to our target price. Yeah, and then buy or no. That's it. Yeah, it's very simple. Yeah.
It's very pleasurable working in Japan. They're not working against you. They want to help. They want to do business, and they want you to do business, and that's nice.
With the recent changes in the market, the Japanese are now buying more luxury MPVs than sports cars. Even though sales are down, there are still many businesses dedicated to tuning performance cars. Located in Shiba, a suburb of Tokyo, Knightsports was established in 1971 by Mr. Kamazuka. One of very few companies to specialise in Mazda's rotary engine, its reputation for quality is known worldwide.
鎌塚は、学生だったんですけども、レースをしながら、もしそのビジネスができて、彼と彼の友達がまだ学生だったんですけれども、レースをしたくて集まっていました。それで大学を中退してこのショップを始めたんです。
Having the enviable status of being officially recognised by Mazda, Knightsports have raced cars all over the world.
76年に、アメリカのデイトナの24時間レースを日本で車を作って送ったのではなく、アメリカで車を作って、実はエンジンとかトランスミッションだけ日本から送り、車をRX3 です。
Given the technical demands of race car engineering, Knightsports give all staff in-house training.
ノーマルアスピレーションの車はいろいろなチューニングがあります。ターボチャージャーのついているエンジンは 13B エンジンは 1300cc しかありませんが、そのエンジンの限界までパワーを出すことが可能です。エンジンを壊さないために本当に大事なことだけをするのが 13B のターボ付きエンジンのチューニングのメインとなってきます。
Though Knightsports still work on all types of rotary engine, these days most of their business is centred around the RX-7.
RX-7 を乗っている人というのは非常に多くいらっしゃるわけですね。もし街の中を普通に通勤に使ったり、ファミリーで乗るようなことをするんだったらですね、マツダの作ったままのストックの車で十分な性能があると思います。しかしもし車を使ってサーキットを走るとなるといろいろな不都合な点ができてくるんです。レーシングカーはサーキットで、一つのレースを連続して走らなければならないわけですね。その一つが例えば V マウントシステムのように、ウォーターテンプレチャーを下げる、それからエアテンプレチャーを下げる、そういうことが一番大事なチューニングになってきます。
With a test bed designed to handle engines up to 800 brake horsepower and a busy workshop equipped to build the highest spec race engines, Knightsports are one of Japan's premier tuners.
一番大事なことはレースにエントリーすることだと思います。その中で きちんとその他の会社のエンジンと争って、馬力ですとか耐久力とかそういったものの競争しないときちんとしたらそのエンジニアとかメカニックとかっていうのは育たないと思うというふうに思います。
A common misconception is that these heavily modified race cars are readily available in Japan's auctions. In reality, owners tend to sell cars to family and friends.
We try and steer customers realistically. You know, we get people inquiring about Mazda RX-7s with specific body kits and specific wheels and things like that. And although we'd love to be able to provide that sort of thing, what people need to understand is that for their specific budget, we not only need to find a car with the bits that they want, but also good mileage, a good price, and the car has to be in the right condition. With the Japanese society as it is now, not spending lots of money on things like sports cars, you generally don't find tuned cars in good condition. So when people specifically want to order a very special car, we have to tell them the truth. There's no point in us wasting their time or our time looking for cars that we're highly unlikely to find. Although sometimes we even surprise ourselves and we do find them.
The majority of Newera's business is generated through their website.
We like people to inquire through our website and be as specific as possible about what they want. When we get their inquiry forms, we tend to try and reply as quickly as we can. We generally answer inquiries within 24 hours.
Dealing with many of the initial inquiries generated from the website, Grant Stafford has been a member of the current team for the past 12 months.
My function here is I'm basically Miguel's right-hand man. I handle many of the inquiries that come in and am involved with all the logistics of the operation from corresponding with a customer, develop it into, once the order is placed, searching for the car. I'm training with Miguel to learn how to buy cars as well. And then after the car is bought, there's a lot of correspondence involved in guiding the customer through each step. And yeah, it's on the face of it a very simple sort of job. It's great. You know, we get to buy great cars and make people very happy with the stuff that we supply.
Not offering facilities such as showrooms, finance and part exchange has its advantages.
The beauty of our business design is that we have very low overhead. Because we have very low overhead, we can be very competitive at the auctions. We can pay a little bit more to buy a car, and we can still turn around and supply the same car, better quality, for a lower cost to the customer. That's our niche. That's what we do well. In order to be able to do that, we need to keep the overhead low, which means we can't get involved with the cost of keeping a showroom in the UK and so on, like many of the dealerships that we do supply. It would make us uncompetitive in the market.
With such a large amount of Newera's time being spent in contact with clients, they have recently taken on an additional member of staff just to deal with inquiries.
If I had a wish list, it would be that after the customers are ready to proceed, of course, when they do fill out the submission forms, they fill it out as meticulously as they can. You know, the email is kind of our lifeline. You know, we do speak to people on the phone from the UK from time to time, but predominantly it's by email. And so the better communication we can have, the more information we can soak up from the submissions, you know, the better we can cater to the customer.
For the Saturday night races, custom and sound-off crowds, improving and modifying their vehicle is a way of life. The Japanese consumer likes to have choice, and companies such as Crystal and Supra Autobacks are there to help. Huge stores offering a never-ending array of aftermarket kit, it is little wonder that the Japanese spend so much on their cars. Rows of wheels stand next to the latest racing oils, turbos, gauge kits, and all other manner of dress-up parts. Once a year in early January, Tokyo holds the world-famous Auto Salon. This is no ordinary car show, and it reads like a who's who of Japan's top tuners and styling companies. With girls, and even more girls convincing the Japanese to part with their money, it is a truly unique event. For those wishing to take modifying one step further, companies like Top Secret are there to provide race car standards of tuning. With a history rich in racing successes, they are one of Japan's top 3 tuners. Renowned for their work on Skylines and Supras, they are also famous for their revolutionary oils. Founded 10 years ago, Top Secret can build anything from a mild street racer to a full-on race car.
Top Secret が、出来上がったいきさつですけども、今日ちょっと不在にしております、代表スモーキーこと、永田和彦、この、永田がですね、某メーカーにいた時に自分の手でその一般のお客さんの車をもっともっとそのお客さんの理想に近い車に仕上げてあげたいということから始まりで、会社を起こしたということで聞いております。
Like many tuning companies, Top Secret are actively involved in both the racing and show circuits throughout Japan.
成功っていうのはやっぱりそのレースっていろんなレースがあるのがドラッグレース、サーキットがあって耐久レース、うちは今そのレースカーで耐久レースとかも参加してますけど、やはりそれが完走すること、それがいろんなデータの中で一般のお客さんに部品なりデータでフィードバックができるショーカーっていうことで、基本的にうちのデモカー関係、その展示会関係、ショーにはほとんどの車を展示します。で、車的にやはりそのサーキット向きの車があり、ドラッグレース向きがあり、最高速チャレンジ用の車がありっていうことで、そのやっぱ分野の車がありますんで、それは常に何台かそれを展示して同じ条件で皆さんに見せるようなあれをしています。主にこの車はサーキット向きに作ってありまして、足回り、ブレーキ回り、そしてエンジンレスポンス、そしてエンジンパワー、そういうトータル的に、出来上がった車になっています。こちらが、内装になるんですけども、サーキットを走るために、レカの、SPG のフルバケットシート、あと、高田の4点式シートベルト、あと、いろんな装置がたくさんついてますけども、こちらが 34GTR で、サーキットに走るための車を作ってあります。こちらボディから、補強を入れてスポットを抹消してあり、エンジンは、600馬力ぐらいの、うちの N1 スペシャルタービンを組んで、トップシークレットで原車セッティングを出してある車です。フロントバンパーからボンネット、こちらすべてうちのエアロパーツで、冷却および空力対策を施してあります。
Not being afraid to push the boundaries in the constant drive for performance, Top Secret will happily take engines from all manner of donor cars and drop them into their races.
トップスピード、うちのデモカーで、 出るスピードっていうと360キロ、このスピードを超えることは可能です。ただその瞬間だけでなくその持続性させること、その辺を踏まえると350キロぐらい、そのぐらいが、トップスピードになると思います。でどうしてもその今現状ある車それを、欲しいそういうお客様も多々いるんですが、やはり有効にそれが活用していただけるオーナーさんであれば、それをうちはその売却に関してはそれは十分考える、うちの方はまた同じものを作ればいいんであって、またよりね新しくいいものが作っていけるんで、売却っていうのはそれは可能ではあります。
The Japanese can push their cars to the limit in any number of ways. Street racing, drag racing and track days are all popular. One of the most exciting forms of racing in Japan is drifting. At a recent Mazda track meet in Ebisu, the conditions were just right for an afternoon of going sideways. Although the cars do race, points are awarded for style and performance of the drift. Although drifting is now a recognised form of professional racing in Japan with its own D1 championship, its origins lie in mountain racing. Known locally as Touge running, in the mountains surrounding Tokyo, drivers tackle the most notorious of roads.
They've got these roads called the Skylines, and the Skylines are roads for basically enjoying a drive on top of a mountain. And the Hakone skyline, when I first saw it, I actually understood for myself why the car I was driving at the time was called a Skyline. It was made for these kind of roads. The first time I saw these drift cars come around here, I was absolutely amazed. I went and, as soon as the guy got out of his car, I shook his hand and I told him what amazing driving he was doing. Then I started having a closer look at his car. It was a Corolla AE86. It was completely stripped out. It had a roll cage, it had super stiff suspension, it had slicks especially made for drifting. It had, a tuned engine. Drifting is not about going around the corner as fast as you can. It's about doing it in probably as an artistic way as possible. During the day, you don't really get many people here, so we came out here early this morning, and we wanted to pitch you know, the WRX against the RX-7.
Being so closely involved with high-performance cars, modifying them was the natural step forward.
I wanted to make the car from the beginning into something that was drivable but very, very quick. You know, I really believe in a car that, you know, has power throughout the rev range, has very little turbo lag, and you know, a clutch that's easy to control, and you know, a car that you can drive in traffic as well as just go hell for leather with out here in Hakone Skyline. So I put in the ECU, took out the catalyst, put in an ARC air filter, and it already had a decent exhaust on it, and it just flew. It made about 350 horsepower on 100 1-octane fuel. I was racing an F355 one night, and I got the F355, but I blew my turbo doing it because I had a leak, and stupidly I just turned the boost up, and so I overworked the turbo, the secondary turbo, and so I took it to Knightsports and I asked them, you know, what can I do? And I saw the V-mount kit, and I thought, well, if I'm having the engine out, I might as well have a V-mount kit fitted as well. And then it just went from there. I got Erlin suspension onto it, still wanting to keep the car very smooth running and so on. Kept the standard clutch. Adjusted the suspension well, put some underbody strut braces on it. And then, of course, you know, with a carbon bonnet, I thought, well, okay, now it needs a new rear wing, you know. And then after that, I thought, it doesn't look wide enough, and it needs some skirts. And then I saw the canards and thought, well, it needs some of those. And then I thought, well, now the interior doesn't look right. So fitted the seats and then fitted the carbon fiber panels inside. And so it's pretty much finished now. It handles beautifully. I think I would probably not have spent so much money on a car. I mean, my Skyline, I tuned it to 380 horsepower, put some nice wheels on it, but didn't put any body kits or change the interior or anything like that. And the reason why is probably because the RX-7 is just, to me, the sexiest car in Japan.
Once Newera purchase a vehicle for a customer, the second phase of the operation begins.
Once a car's bought, Yamagin's transport trucks will come to each auction and they will take them away, usually within a day, 2 days, sometimes a couple of weeks if the auctions are a bit further away from Tokyo. Once the cars arrive at the yard, the number plates are removed and the deregistration process begins. The girls go to the yard twice a week and take pictures of the cars. We then go to the office and we prepare details of cars. We write up everything about the car and send the details to the customer and tell him what the next payment is and, of course, more importantly, when the boat's leaving. Boats will usually depart every 2 weeks and they'll take about 5 to 6 weeks to arrive from Kawasaki to Southampton. And during that time, the customer makes his second and third payments.
This is where the involvement of the Japanese office ends and Paul and Jennifer Robinson, who run the UK side of Newera Imports, take over.
Once the cars have cleared customs and are ready to depart from Southampton, Paul and Jennifer arrange for the cars to be transported from there to Canterbury, where Motormall are based.
Based in Kent, Motormall have been involved in the car business for 25 years. David Westgarth is the managing director and oversees the final process of buying a car from Newera.
Once the cars arrive at the Densol site, we carry out a full inspection on the vehicles to make sure they've actually arrived as Miguel has described them in his details he sends us.
Motormall take care of any minor repairs, conversions, MOTs and registration.
Whilst the car is being registered, which normally takes between 7 and 10 days, that's the time we carry on like fitting alarms if the customers requested, leather interior, and also if there's any cosmetic work to be done on the car, maybe small scratches, paint work, we carry out that while the car's being registered.
And so as the customers collect their new cars, it's business as usual in Japan. The Wangan Expressway, a straight highway between Tokyo and Yokohama, is the road where the notorious Wangan runs take place. Speeds in excess of 180 miles an hour are commonplace. Just off the expressway underneath the Bayside Bridge is the Daikoku Futu rest stop. It's the weekend and groups of 20-somethings meet and chill out. Wild customs mix it with big horsepower races. Here it's about showing what you've got. DJs set up turntables, owners crank up the volume on huge sound systems and impromptu dance floors appear. Towards the end of the night, cars parade past hundreds of admirers and engines are revved in time to the music. This is all about putting on a show. As night falls and the roads empty around the C1 circular highway, the very best Japanese performance cars gather. The Hashiria, a local term given to street racers meeting car parks around the city centre before heading to the C1's rest stops. These groups of young men are driven by speed and a love of motorsport. With house prices so high and little else to spend their money on, for the Hashiria, their cars become an obsession.
そうですね、これを買って大体2年、ごめんなさい、1年半ぐらいかな、今。まずいじってるところが、エンジン エンジン系がですね、これインタークーラーと、あとラジエーター、あとオイルクーラーで、あと、これ K&N のエアフィルター入れて、であとコンピューターをオリジナルのロムチューンしてます。で排気系がチタンのマフラー入れて、ホイールはこれワンオフのマグネシウム入れて、だいたい馬力的にブースト 1.2 で450馬力ぐらいですかね。
With many owners spending just as much on modifications as they initially paid for the car, the Japanese tuning industry is big business.
やっぱり内装とあとスポーツカーらしく派手にしてみました。一般車が少ないし、やっぱりスリルとかやっぱり人に負けたくない、やっぱり派手な車なんで。
これはインタークーラーとタービンを H ケースのタービンを入れてて追加してて、でパワーがだいたいブースト 1.2 で550馬力ぐらい。
By midnight, these cars are headed out. A short journey to the C1 a warm-up for the night's main event. Using up to 3 tanks of high-octane fuel a night, racing on the C1 can be expensive. With the cars prepped, the first races begin to pull out onto the highway. In the PlayStation generation, this road and these cars were the inspiration for Gran Turismo.
ってどのくらい自分の車が速く走れるかどうかをちょっと試してみたい、それだけですね。さっき言ってたように麻薬と一緒なんで、速く走ればそれだけでいいっていうだけですね。で警察と追いかけっこするの大好きですのでそれだけです。そのためにやってます。
The C1 highway, a circular 2-lane road which snakes through Tokyo city centre at night, becomes a racetrack. Races take place on the C1 highway most Saturday nights. In the past, police have turned a blind eye, but as speeds increase, they're beginning to clamp down. Introducing roadworks to slow cars down and handing out large fines, the number of races is reducing.
As a company, we have one rule, call it a mission statement if you like. I simply wouldn't buy a car for anybody that I wouldn't buy myself.
Most of the time, our customers become friends because they're just so stoked about the car they got. So it just makes you, it gives you energy to go out and, and work harder and keep it up.
Being a car enthusiast, I know how people feel about their cars. So we do everything we can to make sure that when the car turns up, the car is everything that the customer dreams of.
I'm glad to see these cars going to the UK, and I think it's nice to have somebody competent over here buying them for Newera, and Miguel certainly knows a lot about it.
Newera's reputation has grown from consistently providing the best that we can find, and that's simply what we're going to keep doing. Ill? From what? From the driving? Was it fast?